Harbinger is a new elite specialization for Necro that came with End of Dragons, and today we will understand together exactly how it works. Please understand that this video is not going to be a certain build. This is just me explaining how Harbinger works, and in a next video I will make a build guide for it. Harbinger revolves around two main things: the Harbinger Shroud, which you access using your F1 skill by default, and Blight, which is an effect you get, and I will still talk about it later. Harbinger Shroud is different than the other shrouds we are used to with necromancers. When you go to Harbinger Shroud and you take damage, it is not taken away from the life force. It will still be taken away from your health. You can access Harbinger Shroud even if you don't have any life force. That's because of the corrupted talent trait, which will give you 15% life force when you access the Harbinger Shroud. So if I press F1 right now, you noticed I gained some life force, which enabled me to access Harbinger Shroud. You can also build life force even when you are in Harbinger Shroud, using skill number 5. This is going to give you life force for each tick it will hit enemies for, and if you manage to use it while there are multiple enemies around you, it will give you a very decent boost. Blight is an effect you get by default every second when you are in Harbinger Shroud. It has this purple icon on your bar, and it will keep increasing in stacks up to a maximum of 25%. By default, for every stack of Blight you have, you will lose 2% of your health, and you will also gain some heals. As you can see, I currently have no stacks of Blight and my health is about 30,000. I will now maximize my Blight stacks to 25, and you will see that it took away a big chunk of the health. I now have 25 stacks of Blight and my health dropped down to about 19,000, and that green number you see below in the negative, this is the amount of health taken away because of the Blight. Elixirs are the type of utility skills you get with Harbinger. They will all work in the same way. They will have 3 effects. If you look above, it will say self effects on cast. Those are the boons or effects that will apply to you whenever you use the elixir, regardless of where you are going to end up throwing it, whether on yourself or far away from you. For example, this one will give swiftness and quickness anytime I use my elixir. So even if I use it far away, I will still get the quickness and the swiftness. The second effect is called Effects in Impact Area, and this will only happen wherever you drop your elixir. For example, if I throw it there, then this will be the impact area. If I throw it here, then where I am is the impact area. And then the third effect happens only if you are above a certain threshold of Blight. And you will find this all the way down. All of your elixirs will have that third effect as 100% of the damage and 100% of the condition duration. The damage and the condition duration is from the elixir itself. For example, you will notice that all of those elixirs will do a certain amount of damage, and all of them will apply certain conditions. So the 100% condition durations are for those conditions applied by the elixirs, and 100% of the damage is from that elixir. This will only apply if you are above a certain threshold of Blight. For the normal utility skills and your heal, the threshold is 5 stacks of Blight, but for the elite, you need at least 10 stacks of Blight to get that extra effect. Elixir of Bliss is the only exception because it does not apply any conditions, so there is not 100% condition duration. Instead, if you use it while having 5 stacks of Blight or higher, it will do the 100% damage increase as normal, but it will remove 2 boons from the enemies and it will convert them to conditions. The other thing you need to know about those elixirs is that they will give you Blight and they will also take it away. Right now, I have no stacks of Blight as you can see. If I throw elixir on myself, it will give you 10 stacks of Blight. This will only apply if you are in the impact area of the elixir. If I throw it away and I am not in the impact area, I will not get the 10 stacks of Blight. Another thing that will happen is that if you have 5 stacks of Blight or higher, and then you use one of those elixirs on yourself, you are going to consume those 5 stacks and you will give yourself 10 new stacks. And in return, you will get the extra bonus that I mentioned, which is 100% extra damage and 100% extra condition duration. So for example, I'm going to use this elixir on myself now. It gives me 10 stacks. This one is also supposed to give me 10. However, it will take away 5. So I will end up with a total of 15. So when I use it on myself now, I end up having indeed 15 and not 20 because it took away 5 and they give me an extra 10. Keep in mind that all of those blight stuff I just mentioned will only happen if you are in the impact area. The elite elixir, Elixir of Ambition, will be the only exception. This will give you 15 stacks of blight instead of 10, and if you have 10 stacks of blight or higher, it will take them away to give you that extra bonus of 100% damage and 100% condition duration. So if I use that elixir on myself now, I have the 10 stacks, and then if I use the elite, it took that 10 stacks away and it gave me new 15 stacks. So in total, you will still end up having 15. Skill number 2 and skill number 3 on your pistol will both help you gain a little bit of life force. Skill number 2 will give you life force based on how many people have been hit by your bullets, and remember that they will pierce. And skill number 3 is going to only hit one target, but it will explode in a 180 radius, and it will give you life force based on how many people were hit in that radius. Another thing you should know about Blight: when you are in Harbinger Shroud, skill number 3 and skill number 4 will do extra damage based on the amount of blight you have. Skill number 3 will apply 100% extra damage and will apply 5 stacks of torment if you have 5 stacks of blight or higher when you use that skill. And skill number 4 will do 100% of its damage and will apply 5 stacks of torment if you have 10 stacks of blight or higher. This does not affect the other skills. It only affects skill 3 and 4. I will now use those skills while having no blight. Here is skill number 3 and here is skill number 4. And I will now use both of them while having at least 10 stacks of blight. Here is skill number 3 and here is skill number 4. The next guide will be on a full build that you can use in open world for Harbinger. If you found this guide helpful and want to see more similar content in the future, please consider subscribing and leaving a like to support the channel. Thank you very much for watching. I will see you next guide.